It's time for AggroChat, the official podcast of the Tales of the Aggronaut blog and stalwart gaming community, where we talk about stuff and things, and the stuff about the things, and sometimes gaming. I'm Belghast, and let's start the show. Hey folks, it's that time again. Time for another episode of AggroChat. This is episode 480. Tonight I'm joined by Ammo.
Hello.
Ashgar.
Hello.
Grace.
Hello.
Kodra.
I am also here.
And Tam.
Greetings.
So we've
And-
got a couple of these that got
And
bounced
David.
from last week.
I see how it is.
Oh,
yeah.
crap.
Oh, man.
Wow.
Ouch.
Sorry. I looked away from the list. That's my problem. Sorry, Thalen.
We had a full team.
We do have a full team. I know. Anyway, we had a couple topics that got bounced from last week. One of which is Luck Be A Landlord.
Sounds like it should be a game about capitalism.
Yeah. Yeah. Sure.
Right?
It's sort of.
Only sort of is.
It sort of is. So okay, this happened. I picked this up because we have a games chat at work, and somebody was saying that they were like, I don't understand why people are into Balatro because Luck Be A Landlord is so much better. I was
going to
like,
say, did this, I was going to ask if this got recommended to you because of Balatro.
yeah. And I was like, that sure is a take. I'm curious about that. And I don't know if I think it is. I think that there's like an actually playing part of Balatro that pulls it up.
Balatro is just so clean.
Yes.
There's so many things about it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like Balatro is really firing on all cylinders. But I didn't actually dislike this one. It's fun. It's just it doesn't.
Oh, this isn't a bad game.
Yeah, like this one's pretty amusing. The basic premise is it's a slot machine deck builder. You start with a slot machine that doesn't have all of its pictures filled in, and you gradually fill in, like that's your deck. You're gradually filling in the pictures and trying to get things to be adjacent to other things and set up weird combos and so forth. It's definitely a purer experience. But yeah, I mean, the premise is you have to pull this thing to make enough money to pay your rent, which goes up every time you pay it. Hence the landlord part.
Okay.
So it is about capitalism. It is. You're not on a good side of it.
I do like how the Steam description says this game does not contain any real-world currency gambling or microtransactions.
Yes.
So are you like adding different faces to the wheels, or like is that how it's a deck builder?
Yeah, every turn, you pull the handle, you pull the thing, get a spin, get money based on the combination of things you have that come up, and have an opportunity to get a new thing. Which like it's a very simplified version of the experience that you're getting, because there's a lot of these that are like, hey, this is or gives you like 1 or 2 coins, but if you've got a miner symbol, the miner can break the ore and give you gems, and gems give you more coins. Or like, this guy is a bounty hunter. Every time he is adjacent to a ruffian, or whatever it's called, you get a bunch of coins, and it destroys the ruffian.
Got it.
I played the demo of this. I was like, this sounds familiar. I played the demo of it, and it was really fun.
Yeah.
In just a compelling, just a couple more minutes sort of way.
That was definitely my my experience. So it's like, is it the deepest game I've ever played? No, but I enjoyed it. It's like if you had your fun with Balatro and you want something that's like conceptually sort of similar and has similar vibes, like,
I think I was told about this game at a similar time to me finding out about Peglin.
yes.
So that was kind of the one that just took over for me, was not
Yeah,
this.
I can see that. But it's interesting to me that it isn't a totally standout, like, amazing game the way I think Balatro and Peglin are. But it's good enough that it's like, its only crime is that it's not an amazing game. It's merely good. But it's cool to me to see like these sort of lighter games start having like more tiers than just, hey, here's a whole bunch of bad stuff, and then every so often one thing emerges that's great.
Yeah, there's been a lot in the miscellaneous gameplay type roguelike sphere. Because like for a while it was all Slay the Spire and Slay the Spire clones.
Mm-hmm.
And we are starting to branch out.
Yeah, it's interesting to see various thoughts on roguelikes and just like procedurally generated but still interesting games. Because you get a lot of, if they're fun, you get a lot. If like the base loop is fun, you get a lot of replayability out of it.
I'm kind of staring off into the middle distance as I ask myself, is Rabbit and Steel a roguelike?
Yes.
Why does it not feel like a roguelike to me?
Because it feels too much like Final Fantasy. And you cannot associate that with being a roguelike.
Maybe,
even though the dungeon in Final Fantasy is also roguelike.
But at the same time, I think part of it is because it's got some areas where it's randomizing, but like the most important thing, which is like the boss encounters, are not random.
So
not exactly random in like Slay the Spire either.
Yeah.
Guess that's fair. Interesting.
Like roguelikes are really just, they're randomizing one or more parts of things, but doesn't necessarily have to be the entire thing. And it's definitely not always the encounters being randomized.
Yeah, for some reason, like I'm really curious about this because for some reason my brain just like it viewed Rabbit and Steel as like a shmup / raid encounter with roguelite elements.
Like, you have recognized that several of the bosses do have random elements, right?
Yeah.
Particularly the first two in each area have a random attack pattern that they pick.
Sure.
The third and fourth tend to be more set.
I was going to say, I'll be honest, I mostly don't have problems with the first two bosses in any area. And so the things that stick with me are boss 3 and 4. Because they come to play. But no, yeah, you're definitely right. There's a lot of roguelikes happening right now. And a lot of different concepts being thrown at this. And it feels like, to me, like it's similar to this, like I said, roguelike elements. That's almost what it's starting to feel like to me, where it's like what we used to do with every game has XP and now it has RPG elements to it.
I still think the premise of failure means you need to start over is a thing that is not really crossing into more genres. Although some games that are very, very roguelike, like Mystery Dungeon games and Tangled Deep, not necessarily have it. So I don't even know where I was going here. But generally speaking, it's a thing I associate with the genre.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and I think about...
And that's definitely true in Peglin and Landlord and Rabbit and Steel.
Magic Drafts.
That too.
I mean, it's... I think we've talked about it before, but there's a certain amount of like... A lot of players will naturally want to find the thing that works for them and stick to it as much as possible. But like statistically speaking, you tend to play more of a game and enjoy it more if it changes up a lot. And having that built in from like the jump with something like with roguelike elements or some level of randomization kind of helps drive that.
Yeah.
Or it's like, oh, you've done a cycle. You win. You won the cycle.
Let me do it again. I want to do it again.
Do it again. Are you going to build the same way and win again? Maybe. Are you probably going to build it slightly differently and experiment a little bit, branch out? Maybe you just won't get all the same stuff again.
I say you probably won't be able to build the same way again in most games.
Yeah.
I'm currently trying to go for a flawless run in Rabbit and Steel, so that's a thing I'm feeling very harshly. Like sometimes I do better than other times.
Is a flawless a no-hit run?
Yeah, if you take the fluff ball and do a no-hit run, you get an upgrade to it. Is there anything you actually get for this? Of course not.
No, you get the real true end game.
Absolutely, you get another cosmetic.
This is based off of Final Fantasy. It's the true end game.
Yeah.
I have my record is 1 hit, taking near the end of the Red Dark House boss 3. Boss 4 rather.
That boss. Was it the double rotation?
Nope. I got through that.
The double rotation gets me every time.
It was the cross pattern during one of the interludes. Because that boss has fast crosses.
Yeah. But I I like it's satisfying to me who's like, I can usually fit in a run of a roguelike game and like do a build and see how that goes for me. So I'm enjoying this increasing usage of more roguelike elements.
Yeah, it's kind of neat because there's been this sort of persistent mentality in like the game dev space where people are hyper aware that if you leave players an opportunity to stop playing your game, you're losing people playing, and that's generally not great. But there's an interesting question that's like, well, what if you actually said, no, okay, it's fine, like play as much or as little as you want, it's okay.
It helps if you have good points for people to come back.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Like, I don't need to remember anything when I come back to Rabbit and Steel. Like, I don't remember where I was. It's just, this is a new run.
Yep.
It's a fresh start every time.
Yep. And it really does, I don't know, it seems like there's something there as far as like, maybe we don't need to make forever games.
I mean, it's not exactly the same thing, but the episode format of Alan Wake helped me actually finish Alan Wake and not get tired of it, because I would play an episode and then the episode would end and a song would play, and then I would Alt F4 out of the game because the game doesn't actually give you an opportunity to stop there. But then when I came back, it would be previously on Alan Wake. Like, I don't know, it's nice to have good logical stopping points, like a chapter break in a book.
Yeah.
So I can play like an hour and a half for 2 hours, and here is an endpoint. And when I come back, the game will remind me, what just happened.
Yeah, I really liked the previously on segments, like, because they're really well done. It's just enough information to let you know. And I mean, like, Witcher 3 tried to do this, but it did a bad job of it.
One of the Pokemon games tried to do that. I think Fire Red and Leaf Green, something like that. Like, they would tell you like what the last few things you did were.
Mm-hmm.
But especially the longer you're away from something, the more important that is.
Oh God, yes.
Yes.
I mean, this is when I don't complete a long story-driven game. That's usually why, because I didn't play for a week, 2 weeks, however long, and I don't remember what was going on anymore. And yeah,
The thought of restarting it over isn't, favorable.
yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So a bunch of things happened this week. Summer Game Fest happened this week, and honestly, like, I don't remember anything terribly pressing about it. But before that, we were flooded with media coverage coming out of the Dawntrail media tour.
I mean, I think the most interesting thing in Summer Games Fest for me is the fact that Fatal Fury or King of Fighter characters are showing up in Street Fighter 6.
Which is bizarre.
That's crazy, yeah.
That is
Does
very
Capcom now own
No,
SNK?
no, they don't. They don't own SNK. Although they have made these characters in games before.
Right. There's been crossovers between the two.
Yep.
I mean,
Like, Capcom versus SNK was a really good fighting game.
Well, it was an okay fighting game, and then 2 came along.
I mean, twos are always where the fighting games, franchises get good.
It kind of is, yeah.
It's a tradition.
But yeah, I was still more interested in, I think, the media tour than I was anything coming out of Summer Games Fest so far.
I mean,
Yeah.
I missed the whole Mark of the Wolf or Guru Mark of the Wolves is getting a sequel.
Oh, yeah, it's getting a sequel.
What, 25 years later?
I don't think so, because like Rock's still kind of not that old. Oh, you mean like in real life? Yes,
Yes, in real life.
yes, it's much older.
I mean, Guru Mark of the Wolves was a game that was out when I was in college, so
1999.
It
was
an
one
old
of the
game when I got
last-
into fighting games.
like, I think it was one of the last AES cartridges released. AES being the Neo Geo console system.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, the floodgates opened on Dawntrail media tour information, and like, it's really charming to see a bunch of Yoshi P interviews, but I don't know how much new information we got out of it.
Very little as far as interviews with Yoshi P.
Yeah.
Mostly people just looking at class changes and the dungeon stuff.
Yeah. I will say I caught up this week on the MSQ between last show and this show, and I am way more interested in Dawntrail than I was.
Yay.
I'm shocked.
Yeah, I still got to do that. Got to finish up on the moon.
Yeah, I have not done that yet either.
I mean, the moon was really good. Like,
it is.
Basically, the Final Fantasy IV related stuff was really good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, I love Final Fantasy IV. Like, it's Golbez and the Four Fiends. Yeah, no, I'm 100% here for this. It was great.
And like, more than anything, it like sold me on a single character, and that character is the one that kept me going. And I'm interested to see where things go now from now on. And
There is
also,
hope. It's great.
Wuck Lamont sounds like Chandra with like a Spanish accent. Legitimately, like, if you play through any of the content with that new character, tell me it doesn't sound like Shan.
I mean, I haven't made it to her yet because I got distracted by Hildebrand.
Hildebrand just continues to get more and more ludicrous.
I love it. Yes.
There's some fantastic scenes in the new story.
Little Final Fantasy VIII callback in his stuff.
Wait, what?
That's where the little space alien is originally from.
Oh God, of course.
Who flies
there's
around kidnapping things. That's out of Final Fantasy VIII.
Like, at some point, Ash and I were talking about this, a radical change happened in Warriors where like Overpower is now an AoE instead of a cone attack. So
yeah, no more having to try to like maneuver yourself to aim it at everything.
Right. It's wonderful.
Now it actually hits everything around you, like its follow-up always did, leading to a weird mismatch when doing your AoE combo.
So I'm attempting to catch the Warrior up because I didn't play it at all last expansion.
I know that change happened before I fell out of the game most recently. So
there was a major tank change during 6.3, I want to say, in which Paladin got some major reworks. Did it happen?
Right.
Did it happen then?
Probably then, yeah.
Because I'm adjusting to how Paladin plays now because it's changed.
Mm-hmm.
You use your spells a lot more.
Well, and I've not, like, I leveled as Paladin in Endwalker, but I've not played it much post Endwalker because I started playing around on my Machinist, and I did the story on that character. Yep. Firing off drills and air anchors.
Drills and air anchors, and I still think this is the class with the best looking abilities in the entire game.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and I don't know if you saw that they've got like a double machine gun thing now.
Yes.
Yep.
Like the ride continues. It's great. They're also replacing Gauss Round and Ricochet with some new things, with new animations.
We also got a big announcement on the Guild Wars 2 front.
Yep.
Where player housing is going to happen.
Yay.
That makes me probably more happy about anything. That and that spear probably looks like a good weapon for Reaper.
So with the spear, is it going to just be like what you have underwater with it, but on land?
I mean,
or
they're making new movesets.
They're making new movesets. Okay.
Because the underwater movesets mostly don't make sense on land, and also most of them are kind of bad.
Yeah, they released teasers of 3 of the classes, and like Necro is a power DPS with a lot of movement, I think. And Ranger is, do you want to jump into combat with a Ghost Warclaw or like a Spirit Warclaw? And then Guardian seems like it's a lot of buff type stuff.
I mean, every Guardian weapon is a symbol. It does look pretty similar to the longbow, though. It's a little more like close range stuff.
The Warclaw, like having PvE stuff, is also really cool because, like, I am hoping this is going to be a thing that eases the transition into World versus World for people.
Mm-hmm.
Because getting your Warclaw is kind of miserable.
I mean, it doesn't take a lot of points to get the Warclaw, but you need to be aware that the first thing you get needs to be your Warclaw.
Right.
Hugely important. And
Yep.
B, even then, you're going to spend a while running around on foot trying desperately to keep up with the pack, and it sucks.
You're gonna be sad, and like there is the Warclaw buff that allows people on foot to run faster, but also like it doesn't account for it. Like it's not good enough to make up the difference.
So yeah, no, I'm 100% behind Warclaws for everybody.
Just like I was with
Yeah.
Skyscale.
And
like,
what are they going to put at the end of that reward track? I wonder. I guess you already only do it once.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like it's a one-time track, and it's
I mean, and you get a skin for completing the track, if I remember correctly.
I don't think you do. You just get the Warclaw helm, and that's what you just need to do it in order to get your Warclaw.
I
Okay,
think so. Yeah.
I guess you can buy a skin if you have done it, because I know there is a World versus World exclusive Warclaw skin. But yeah, just like with the Skyscale, like I did the full version, and I fully support anybody having a slightly easier path to getting a Skyscale. I
Yep.
fully support anyone having an easier time getting a Warclaw.
Yes.
Also, I like riding a Warclaw out in the world, so
Yeah.
hopefully
Yeah.
it does cool stuff too. Like, who doesn't want to ride Battle Cat?
Yeah, like it's a cool looking mount, so more excuses to ride it just out in the normal world. Yes.
I mean, another raid wing. I would need to have started any of the raid encounters to be really into that, but
It would
Maybe
be
one day.
cool if there was a way to do raids easier.
I mean, there's the learning mode now to
Yeah, so it's
But you still
really
gotta-
funny.
yeah.
There's a learning mode. And you know what? If you're looking for group for learning mode, it is never populated.
it is empty.
That's a shame.
Yeah, because I was looking to do a strike today, and there's never anybody in the learning mode strikes.
Clearly, we should form up, you and I, and just go into learning mode and
Right.
see if we can get 3 more.
We can try to raffle our way through it because I have the tag, which is the requisite. So I mean, I can make a group.
I thought you could make a group for strikes without even being a commander.
You can, but you can't move people around.
Yeah.
You can't create subgroups without the commander
Right.
tag.
Okay. Clearly, Guild Wars 2 needs to start writing people better to do that sort of thing.
Yes.
Maybe expansion 3 will make it easier to get a tag,
Well, we'll see.
or the third of these expansions. Yeah,
Expansion 3. This is expansion 5, Bell.
I know. Well, I was calling it expansion 12 the other day. Look, living worlds are basically expansions. Call it whatever you want. They're basically expansions.
I
You
am
just made a whole bunch of people mad at you all of a sudden.
I am reminded of, I believe it was an old comment from Belden when somebody was complaining about some pricing in World of Warcraft. It is like, you need to be grateful. If this was EverQuest, Encourage would have been an expansion.
It would have been.
It's true.
It's a true fact.
Do you want to run instance dungeons? Well, here's Lost Dungeons of Norath.
Yeah. I mean, EverQuest is up to expansion, 73 now? Like,
God, I don't know. Like, I mean, I know EverQuest 2 is at least in the 20s of expansions.
EverQuest is planning to release their 31st expansion this December.
Unbelievable.
Well, there you go.
I can't even.
They've been coming every year.
It's like every 9 months.
It's been about every year. It's been December for the last several years.
That's fair.
And then what's really impressive is like that is with what is a truly skeletal crew at this point.
Yeah, I have no idea how many people.
I mean,
are
I
on
have
that
no idea
team,
what
but
else
it's gotta
Daybreak is
be
doing.
Like 4.
I'm curious how many people are still playing this game.
A shocking number, actually. Like it's still got quite a few people. Like there are diehard players, but almost everyone is multi-boxing.
I was actually checking
Yeah,
on
that tracks.
what EverQuest's what Daybreak's current games are. They got EverQuest, they got EverQuest 2, they got Pirates of the Burning Sea, they've got DCUO, they've got PlanetSide 2, and they've got their own battle royale. Everything else has been closed. or was it single player? They have several single player stuff, a lot of single player stuff as well.
I know that in his video on Metaverse, Dan Olson went into like the financials of Daybreak, basically with the assessment of the numbers that something like whatever.
I think he used DCUO as an example, right?
Maybe the numbers for whatever the Metaverse was, I forget. Basically, its numbers compare unfavorably to dying or dead MMOs.
Decentraland.
Decentraland, there's the name.
I was trying to think if it was that or the Sandbox, which is the other similar one.
I mean, I think Decentraland had a lot of speculators, but no one actually playing it.
That's how they all go.
Uh-huh.
Yep. Decentraland.
What if Second Life, but without any of the good parts?
I mean,
And also all of the Second Life stuff is moving over to Roblox. So
or
man.
Or VR chat.
Yeah, I was gonna say or VR chat, which notably has implemented VR, unlike Decentraland. Oh, snap!
I mean, if you want to earn money in the metaverse, clearly you need to get a job at the Roblox IKEA.
yeah.
That is such a bizarre situation.
Yes.
Don't get it.
This is definitely one of those "am I too old for this" type of situations.
I mean, I think I am. I think I actually am.
Like I could barely understand like an IKEA in Second Life. Like I could kind of see where that would come from, but Roblox.
I mean, Roblox is great marketing.
Yeah, I was about
This
to
is great
say,
marketing for IKEA, so that part makes sense to me.
I feel like the whole point of Roblox is getting the IKEA brand in front of its next generation of buyers.
I guess so,
Right.
because I mean, there's a lot of these kids that are going to be going to college soon and are going to need, cheap furniture.
Yep.
Like, that part makes sense to me. Employing people to work there does not make sense to me. It's a game.
Yeah, look. That's the one where I'm like, what? Like, what?
I mean, this feels like a marketing stunt more than anything.
Well, yeah.
It definitely
I mean,
is.
obviously.
It just seems really like an expensive marketing stunt.
Right, but like, how many people are actually going to get one of these jobs?
Oh, that's fair. Maybe it will be like very few people. They hire like just a handful of people. Still funny to me.
I mean, if they want people to actually take the job, they should like offer a free Belghast when you sign up. I'm sure they get a lot of folks then.
I mean, well,
get a different
they're
class of
offering $14 an hour, so that is above minimum wage in most places.
It's true.
And I will admit, Roblox makes me feel very old.
Yes. That's one of the things that I look at. I'm like, yeah, I'm too old for this to make any sense. I
got Minecraft. I haven't gotten Roblox yet.
Yeah.
And like,
mean,
I installed out of curiosity the Fortnite version of Roblox, where like people are making content in it and such, and I didn't necessarily get that one either. Like I played, so a while back, like Fortnite was advertising all of this Lego stuff inside of Fortnite, and I don't know if that was like a limited time thing, but like what was available when I tried it were things that barely qualified as video games.
I mean,
so
Roblox has gone to some places.
Yes.
Like, yes. If the last time you looked at Roblox was, God, that would have been like 2015 or so.
I know
like,
there's a shooter that is like supposedly one of the best shooters out there right now, and it's inside of Roblox.
Well,
Roblox?
I know, like my son was, saw something about like there was some Sonic game on Roblox, and I was like, oh, it's probably like some cheap cash grab that Sega will shut down when they find out. No, it's an official Sega thing on Roblox.
Oh.
Sonic the Hedgehog.
Like I said, being in Roblox is good marketing. It's a thing companies will want to do at this point.
Yeah.
I do also need to stress, like, I now watch small children play Minecraft, I imagine the way that they are interfacing with Minecraft is very different than what you're thinking, Belle.
Oh, probably.
Probably.
Like,
Yeah, like
you're probably playing, on survival mode, right?
yeah,
Like,
basically.
you're playing Minecraft on survival. They're barely even playing Minecraft. They're mostly going and seeing what modded experiences are available to them that are available for free download and picking those up and playing those, which is something much easier to do in something like a Roblox.
Yeah, like so all the anniversary stuff's going on for right now for Minecraft, and one of them required me to watch an amount of time of a Minecraft streamer, and like the thing they were playing was barely recognizable as Minecraft. It was some kind of PvP mode where like you knock people out of the sky on these sky islands or something.
I'm fairly sure I've heard of that one, actually.
Did you want to play the most modern roller coaster tycoon?
Yeah,
It's
like
in Roblox. That's where it is now.
so like Minecraft sort of set the way, but Roblox was much more focused on the different experiences that are very attractive to kids who want to have one game that has every game inside of it.
And also don't have access to a credit card.
Well, yeah, I mean that's the appeal.
I mean,
right?
that's
Like,
the appeal. They have one game and it has every game inside of it.
Well, like I kind of feel like this is also the whole old school RuneScape thing, because I was too old to have gotten caught up in that, but like there's a certain millennial demographic that loved old school RuneScape because it was a game they could play in their browser.
If my computer had been better, I might have been in that company.
Yeah, so like but I was playing EverQuest when people were playing RuneScape. So it's just a different thing. Yeah.
Yeah, I missed RuneScape because I was able to play EverQuest.
Right. Like for me, I was an adult. For you had the ability to play them as a kid. That was a thing. But like I remember my cousin was super into RuneScape back in the day because it was a thing that could be played in a browser that you could play in a computer lab. It will be interesting to see what becomes of Roblox as it matures further.
There's going to be a whole generation of game devs whose like portfolio is just Roblox games.
Like I'm starting to wonder if this is where the metaverse as it was envisioned is really going to come together.
I mean, it's basically already that.
Like this is the world that Snow Crash predicted.
Well, and all of this is also why, people are concerned about Roblox as well, because there can be some dark stuff you can do in Roblox.
Oh, sure. I mean, I remember what The Sims Online was like.
That was a mess.
I'm sure people are at least trying to do that sort of thing with Roblox.
I had a coworker at the time who was a Sims Online slumlord.
Man.
Selling properties on eBay and such.
Oh my goodness.
Well,
everything old is new again.
Yep.
Always.
Because he learned it in Ultima Online, so he was going to play it the same way he played Ultima Online.
I will never heal from the things I did to people in Ultima Online.
You blackened your soul?
Oh my god, yeah. Like, there was a time and place where every ounce of my I don't like PvP that you have heard from me was the opposite. Anything went. And then I wasn't 14 anymore.
To be fair, like I played a lot of Doom Deathmatch and a lot of Quake Deathmatch.
I mean, so
yeah, but everybody knew what they were getting themselves into when they logged into the game of Doom or Quake.
Yeah, like there's a fundamentally I will still hop in. It doesn't happen super often, but every so often there'll be like an arena mode shooter, or like most recently I played a bunch of what was it? Star Wars Battlefront
Squadrons.
And I did play some Battlefront, and like there's there are definitely like arena shooters that I'll hop into and play sometimes. I mean, I played TF2. There hasn't been anything that I've been just like super excited about, but like I know what I'm getting into.
Like I played UT 2004 a lot.
Yeah, like
I played League of Legends 10 years ago.
Yeah, but there's a difference between I'm gonna choose my loadout and I'm gonna run around and blast people and we're gonna have a good laugh, and I have 40 Hearthstones all labeled home in my inventory that I'm going to pickpocket into your inventory, so that when you use them, you come to my house.
Yep.
It wasn't okay.
Yes, the trolling that could be done in Ultima Online was...
It was especially a problem because the stakes were too high as well.
Oh yeah, I mean you lose everything that's on you, plus some of your like skills that you have spent time and effort training. Yeah.
Well, I mean, the reason I started doing that in Ultima Online is because somebody pickpocketed the deed to my house and kicked me out of my own house.
Mm-hmm.
And like that was my villain arc.
Yeah, I was pretty lucky that Trammell came along not long after I started playing Ultima Online. And until Trammell, there wasn't anywhere I could put a house even if I could afford one. So the sprawl was real.
So we kind of talked about this slightly a little bit earlier, but one of the things that was announced at Summer Game Fest was a Alan Wake expansion, and I believe Grace has been playing that.
Yes, I have. Haven't spent a ton of time with it, but I played through one of the Night Springs episodes. The first episode is called Number One Fan, and you play as the character of the waitress. And it is... I just really appreciate the Night Springs sort of theming of this DLC, because it just lets them do fun things without having to fit perfectly into the rest of the story or into the rest of the world.
Mm-hmm.
It ties it in very well. I mean, it makes sense, but also it is very much doing its own separate thing. And I think that's great. I also, as always, love that it's just a set of standalone episodes.
Yes.
So I don't have to mess with my, save game. I don't have to start a new game and figure out where the DLC fits. Like it is its own thing. And I don't want to go into too much detail because there's a lot of silliness, and it's best probably experienced without being spoiled. But yeah, it's just, it's very fun to be in this very much sort of power fantasy. You are the waitress, you are the writer's number one fan, you are in love, and you are going to save him with the power of love.
Oh boy.
And it is as nonsense as that sounds. I also just really appreciated that, like, because this episode is a power fantasy, like, you get good weapons right away, and there is zero chance of you running out of ammo. Like, it just throws resources at you, and that feels great. Like, you're really mostly just playing through this arc of story and discovering some little things along the way. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure there's probably people who complain that it doesn't require an excessive amount of skill to execute anything. But it was extremely fun. It was extremely, extremely silly.
I love it.
Yeah, I I want to be able to talk about this with people because there's just some extremely nonsense things in it. And I haven't touched either of the other 2 episodes yet. I am super excited about both of them, seeing who the main characters are. And yeah, if you have played Alan Wake 2, you should definitely take a look at this. It's not going to take a lot of your time. And if you haven't played Alan Wake 2, why haven't you played Alan Wake 2?
Because I'm finishing up Control.
That is probably the best excuse.
I'm in the middle of the AWE DLC for Control, so I'm seeing the aftermath of Bright Falls and also learning that apparently Langston writes poetry. It's very creepy. The combination of the hiss and the darkness is disturbing, and I'll be interested to see like what of this continues on, like gets picked up in Alan Wake 2. But yeah, like just the trailer for the Alan Wake 2 DLC, like that looked very entertaining.
What I'm looking forward to is, I mean, obviously the Jesse Faden DLC, but the Tim Breaker DLC, because it looks like it's going to cement the linkages between Quantum Break and the larger mythos. Quantum Break is a way better game than it should have been, given how janky its formula was.
Right. Because it was basically like play some game and then watch a half-hour TV show, right?
Yep, that was exactly what it was. Yeah, and it was sort of a choose your adventure thing that the choices you made during the gameplay segment would dictate which little segments of the video you saw. But it was like a full television show, which was bizarre. But like you kind of had to do the thing you were talking about earlier with Alan Wake, where like I hit an end of a chapter. I'm done for the night because I don't know how long the next one's going to be.
Yeah. I may go back and play that one at some point. Right now, I want to get to Alan Wake 2.
Yeah, it like it's not directly connected enough to be required viewing.
And then I think I saw something about Max Payne is going to be remastered. So maybe when that happens, I'll play that.
What? I'm into it. And I loved those games. They were so weird.
I mean, Max Payne is Alex Casey, so
yeah. But yeah, apparently they announced relatively recently that they're planning to remaster Max Payne 1 and 2.
I'm guessing that means they have a good working relationship with Rockstar now.
I guess so. It would be interesting if they then, like, after having done that, were able to more explicitly link Max Payne and Alex Casey.
Yeah, it would be lovely for them to get like their licensing back to all these properties and go through and name characters correctly. Because it's happened twice. Like there's some stuff's on Microsoft, some stuff's on Rockstar. Star Trek Resurgence. Is this the Stellaris thing?
No.
No.
I've actually talked about the Stellaris thing.
Okay, I thought we had, yeah.
I just
didn't remember what that was called.
So, okay, I think I've talked about how Star Trek games are, the concept of a Star Trek video game is pretty cursed. Because what do you even do?
Point and click adventure game.
Yes.
That one was
that's
actually
honestly a reasonable answer to that question.
There were Star Trek point and click adventure games.
They were good.
And they were
really
actually good.
Yeah. Hey, what is the model for modern point and click adventure games?
Wolf of whatever.
Telltale.
Wolf Among
Telltale.
Us.
Yeah. So this is a Star Trek game built in the Telltale style. And it's pretty fun. Like, it's got a great vibe. You jump across a couple of characters. It kind of hits it hits a couple of like really good notes just as far as setup. Like, one of your characters is the new commander on the ship, whose big thing is she's the second in command of the ship, but the ship and its crew have been through a lot, and she's kind of trying to fill in the shoes of the previous commander who died on their last mission.
Aha.
And the other dude is, and the other character is a lower decker, and they absolutely have watched that show too.
I need to catch up on the latest season of that.
Yeah, same.
But it's really neat. It hits the right notes of like, you're talking to people. There is some action. The action isn't necessarily violence, but you're gonna do various things with various tools, and it works. I'm not super far into it because I've been distracted, but and also because my partner saw me playing it and was like, "No, we need to play this together." So that's gonna happen at some point. It's actually been out for a while. It's been in Epic Game Store limbo.
That's why I hadn't heard of it.
And it's now on Steam.
The marketing black hole is the Epic Game Store.
Yes.
I see Jonathan Frakes is involved. That's good.
It has escaped. It has escaped the Epic Game Store. It is now on Steam. I picked it up basically as soon as it was out because it's been well reviewed, and like it's partly cool to me just because there aren't very many ways that I think a Star Trek video game works, and also because like it's cool to me to see somebody picking up the torch from Telltale to do stories that like I don't think you could do in other ways very reasonably.
I think I would love to see is a Star Trek game in the vein of a BioWare RPG.
This is about as close as you get to that, I think.
Because like that was one of the aspects of Mass Effect 2 that I liked the most was the away mission feel of it. Because like a lot of that game is running little missionlets.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is normally a title that I would have assumed was TAM, but having talked about it before the show, I know it's Ash. RPG one-shots.
So in an effort to find out more about a bunch of RPGs that several of us are aware of, but have not actually played, we've been running an assortment of one-shots in various styles. And I've really appreciated the chance to just see how all these systems, most of which I've read the core book of, actually work. Like Modifius has a bunch of RPGs on their quote-unquote 2D20 system.
Yeah. I mean, and they've got a lot of licenses too.
Yes. So like seeing what the Fallout RPG is like.
Seeing Wrath and Glory.
Is that who
Seeing a
did
bit
the
of-
Secret World?
I don't think so. I didn't know there was a Secret World RPG if there is one.
Yeah, it was a Kickstarter. I backed it. I just don't remember who did it. But that name sounds familiar.
They also did the Infinity RPG, which
Okay.
I read through and decided maybe we don't need to play that. It had fun ideas, but questionable execution. Anyhow, they did that. They've done like the Power Rangers RPG is them. The G.I. Joe RPG is them. They have so many licenses.
Yeah.
Anyhow, we got to see the Fallout RPG, which was cool. We got to see a system called Fabula Ultima, which is like, if you heard that closely, yes, it is supposed to sound like Final Fantasy. And like it is, what was it? An Italian, it's several layers deep into this was inspired by Final Fantasy layer cake there.
Oh yeah, it knows what's up.
But yeah, it absolutely knows what's up. It's a very interesting system. And we got a chance to see Age of Sigmar Soulbound, which is basically the same system as 40K's Wrath and Glory. Although also in this process of this, I learned that there is a 40K system based on the old Warhammer Fantasy system now. So that's a thing too.
Yeah, that I'm going to have to check that out.
Yeah. Huh. I did not know about that, and that's interesting. My like May obsession going deep down an orcs rabbit hole had me thinking that playing an RPG where everyone is an orc feels like that would actually work really well because you don't have to justify getting into fights all the time.
So just because I'm curious, you said G.I. Joe was Modifius. I thought that was Renegade. Is that the same thing?
Might be published by Modifius?
Maybe it's published by them?
Well, if anyone, it would be published by Renegade. Renegade's a huge company.
That one is Renegade. I'm confusing that one. Confusing them there.
Okay.
Modifius has...
It's them and Transformers. That's the one I was thinking of there.
Hmm.
Does Modifius have the One Ring now?
Apparently.
I haven't played. I want to play some Renegade stuff because I mean I know there's like I think they have the My Little Pony brand now, so that's always
That would
fun.
make sense.
I did not realize there's a Dishonored tabletop game.
Yeah. Like,
Interesting.
Modiphius has Dreams and Machines, which is weird and interesting looking.
That's them coming up with an original setting to use their 2D20 system in. It's actually really cool.
It seems really cool. But they've also got Dune, Fallout, Homeworld, Star Trek, Alien, Blade Runner, Dishonored, Infinity, Stargate, and then a handful of other games that I also really want to play, like Coriolis.
Wait, they own that?
They are publishing the new Coriolis.
Did they change the rules or it's still...
I have no idea.
That's fair. Anyway, this has been an opportunity to try a bunch of things that we may not get a chance to do for like a long campaign.
Yeah, just testing stuff out has been interesting. Like I threw together a Fallout one shot as part of this whole thing, and like I liked it enough that I would run a campaign in it. And I didn't think I was gonna run a Fallout. Like if you'd asked me 6 months ago if I was thinking about running a Fallout campaign, I'd be like, no. But I was like, oh, actually, this system is really neat, and I'm curious. I think it would play out in an interesting way that we don't normally try. So like that's cool. It looks neat.
I liked it. I especially like how it encourages you to do the stuff you do in a game, like salvage stuff, like scrounge around for, more drugs.
Normally being addicted to drugs is a negative thing.
Oh, it was definitely a negative thing.
Sometimes.
No, it was being addicted to drugs in that game, to chems in that game, really bad. Using drugs in that game, ooh, that's the good stuff.
I've got to admit, like, I am not sure I have ever used a drug in a Fallout game.
Yeah,
Because they didn't make them strong enough.
Yeah, that right there.
Like, the downside always seemed too much.
Yeah.
Like,
The downside is real, but the upside is significant. Ridiculous.
I do actually use them semi-often in Fallout 76 because Addictol is a thing that exists. So, whatever.
So
And sometimes I need, a couple more points of charisma so I can like hit a particular speech check or something.
So real quick, like one of the
That's
things in Fallout is you get everyone always gets a move, right? Or is a move a minor action? I can't remember. But you get normally a minor action and a major action in your turn. But if you want, you can spend 2 AP, which is like a
party resource that
yeah.
caps at 6.
Party resource that caps at 6. You can use 2 AP to get another major action or 1 AP to get another minor action. Jet says all of those cost 1 AP less.
Oh.
Yeah.
Nice.
I was moving. And sure, if I am not currently on Jet, I have shaky hands and all of my gun checks are at a greater difficulty. But that's why I keep looking for Jet.
I mean, finding Jet is a really good way to get some caps.
Finding caps is a really good way to get Jet.
Trying to remember of the name of the Rift or Rifts character class that was basically just like you're on drugs all the time.
Juicer.
Juicer,
It was
yeah.
Juicer.
But you die at like 25.
Oh yeah.
Whatever.
Because your heart explodes.
Campaign's not going to get that far. We're fine.
Exactly.
Like there was a whole decontamination process, but like
Yeah.
it made you awful, so people just had disposable characters. It was fine.
Yeah. I think I know exactly one friend had a character that started as a juicer and later became a glitter boy. But mostly, yeah. If you're playing a juicer, you knew that character was going to die soon. But until they did, oh boy.
The one shot that I considered running but didn't actually run was Power Rangers. Which is I don't necessarily know how I feel about the system, but I'm sure impressed by the enormous lore dump from that. I'm not sure is I have to imagine that it is probably at some level backed up by the TV series, but it sure sets a whole bunch of like backstory about the Power Rangers and like generations of Power Rangers that I did not know, despite watching quite a lot of it.
I mean,
There were a lot of
they could just be
generations of
making
Power
it up.
Rangers.
But yeah, it's I think we've moved past the days when tabletop RPGs could get the license for something and then just completely invent an entire like backstory for everything out of whole cloth, like Star Wars.
I used to work with some of the people who wrote the old West End Star Wars. They were like, yeah, they basically just rubber stamped anything we came up with. Also, I guess it's all canon now.
Pretty much.
I was gonna say a lot of that stuff became canon, like the entire idea of lightsaber crystals.
I feel like everyone thinks that they did them a solid with that one.
Oh yeah, no, I mean West End was very much the keepers of the flame as far as Star Wars for a while there.
Also a surprisingly fun-looking RPG. Holds up because it's not trying to murder you every other turn.
Yeah, I have one more idea for one that I would like to keep as a surprise, so I'm not going to say it here. But we'll see how that goes.
I have an idea for one for Beacon, but unfortunately the VTT we use does not support Beacon.
Yeah.
So yet. So maybe someone will fix that.
You can fix that.
I still feel like someday I should find that I should find an opportunity to make you all play Street Fighter.
As in the White Wolf version?
Yes. What if the old White Wolf role-playing system had an actual good combat system?
Sounds like witchcraft.
I remember us actually adapting that to all the other White Wolf systems.
Mm-hmm.
It's not Street Fighter, but I was also taking a look at, like, I'm not running this, a fighting game-based RPG whose name I can't remember right now.
I confess that I have gotten... I can keep
Panic at the
Fabula
Dojo.
Ultima straight, but all of the... There's a whole lot of... We made us an RPG that is Final Fantasy with the serial numbers filed off,
Uh-huh.
and I confuse them constantly.
Yes.
Especially because
Beacon and Icon are kind of a problem there, specifically.
I mean, yes. But there's others that also... I don't even remember... I have to look up what their names are, but there's others that have, like...
There's also
high
Break.
concept two-syllable names.
Yeah, I think they're supposed to be shipping out the books for Break here pretty soon.
Break is supported in Foundry, weirdly enough.
We've got a lot of new systems coming out, and thanks Wizards for encouraging everyone to make their own gaming system.
Here's a free tip for anybody trying to do so. Just figure out what you're good at and do that. Don't just try to be the next D&D, because it's not going to work.
I am I don't want to play it, but I definitely want to see at least a Critical Role session using their new RPG system designed for Critical Role sessions.
I was going to say, I don't want to play that game or run that game.
Yes, correct on both counts.
I mean, how often do you get to make a full budget RPG for you and your friends?
I am thinking I might try and dive into my first follow along a full play with Never Stop Blowing Up, which looks hilarious. The premise seems to be 6 adventurers are Jumanji'd into an 80s action hero VHS tape.
Oh dear.
Oh, wow.
Huh. System inspired by kids on bikes. Huh.
Brendan does a lot of stuff based on the Kids on Bikes system.
Kids on Bikes is a good system. I
know Mintopolis was done in Kids on Bikes, or something inspired by it. And while I didn't watch that, I definitely I consumed a lot of clips from that show.
Which is probably a good segue into the Dropout TV topic.
Yeah, that's their... So, yeah, Dropout does a lot of Let's Play, full plays of RPGs. I've actually been watching a lot more of their comedy offering, and specifically some of the more recent shows. They definitely do a lot of improv inspired stuff. Game Changer is fascinating to me, and that is just like really high budget, like bit of a mystery of like the whole premise is it's the game show where the game changes every show and the players don't know what game they're about to play.
It's an opportunity for Sam to mess with the players.
It's an opportunity for Sam to mess with the players. Absolutely.
And try to make Brennan mad.
Yes, try to make Brennan mad.
What do you mean try?
Oh, there's a lot of just great Brennan clips as he's realizing like the twist of the show. So yeah, some of the shows it's like very obvious what's going on. Some of the shows have like secret hidden things going on underneath them, and it's just an extended opportunity for Sam to like do something really nice for one person in particular. They like I have never consumed. I've consumed very little Bachelor content. It mostly seems unwatchable to me, but watching the Grant O'Brien bisexual Bachelor was really fun. And like they do a lot of they do a lot of that stuff. But what I was kind of getting to is their new shows are Smarty Pants and Thousandaires, and and Very Important Person. I've been watching a lot of, and these are kind of like they're not scripted, but they're. I felt like, especially after I watched the episode of Very Important Person where Brennan basically the idea of Very Important Person is Vic Michaelis is acting as an interview for a host of different characters. And before like they come on set, the actors who she's interviewing go under like this total transformation into this completely wild character. Like they've got Ife Nyaruwe is like a full-on alien, like purple alien by the end of his costume. Brian David Gilbert's like a mad scientist. But Brennan gets turned into like this caveman person.
A bearded guy who lives in the woods.
He lives in the woods.
Also, I think it's important to note, like, I'm pretty certain from what I've seen of this, they don't know going into it what the character they're going to be made up as is. Like, they get made up as this character, and then they see what they've been made up as, and they have to, like, okay, invent what this is going to be.
Yes, they have to invent who this character is. And I also don't, like, I'm curious. I'm going to watch the behind the scenes. I don't know if Vic even knows what's going to happen. And then
probably not.
And then they just like go to a live taping and they tape the interview. And this felt more close to like watching a high production LARP than anything I've ever seen. It's extremely like, it's so bizarre. It's so much fun to watch though. Like this weird interaction where everyone's trying to play it straight. Everyone's trying to stay in character and not break, and just like taking yes-anding, like this is how I'm going, like this is who my character is. How would you respond to it? And like thinking through what's the right way to approach this. It's very interesting. That show. And then Smarty Pants is like, everyone comes up and gives a TED Talk on whatever ridiculous subject that they want to give a TED Talk on. I very much appreciate, in order to save modern music, we must revive swing again. If you want.
I buy it.
But yeah, like I've been watching a lot of Dropout. I've been using I got a subscription to it finally, and so I've been going through that. It and Make Some Noise, which is sort of their take on like a Whose Line Is It Anyway? Real good stuff.
I guess this probably won't be a super long topic, but Kitsune Tails?
Oh yeah, you recommended this to me.
Is it fully out?
There's a demo.
Okay.
Yeah, it's part of Steam demo whatever thing that's going on.
Next Fest.
Aha. Okay, and planned release in August. Okay, cool.
it's got a very cute story. I like that. It's definitely going for a Super Mario Brothers 3 vibe.
Oh yes.
It's very, I think it's going to be hard because it's hard to do a Super Mario Brothers 3 like that close to Super Mario Brothers 3 where the physics aren't exactly right. And that was sort of my thing, is like it felt so close. It felt like almost I was playing an Uncanny Valley version of Super Mario 3. Like the difference between like the difference between like max P speed and like almost max P speed was massive, and like it felt jarring every time you got there. And like it's one of those things where I was like, I don't know how Mario did this and made it feel smoother, but like in Mario, when you actually got to P speed, you were definitely going faster, but it didn't necessarily feel like you were going that much faster. It didn't feel as jerky. And it's all of these things where it's like, it's such a minutia issue, but like, it feels off. It feels very close to Mario 3, and at the same time, it feels alien to Mario 3. And so that's going to be hard. But I did play through it several times. I'm tempted to record a speed run of it so I can have the world record speed run of the demo or whatever.
Yeah, I've only played like the precursor to this.
Oh, what's that?
I think it's also Kitsune something.
Oh, okay.
I mean, there was Super Bernie World.
Kitsune Zero.
Not the same thing.
No,
It's
it is the same thing.
Same team.
Really?
Yeah, it's the same thing. Yeah, it's
I
the
didn't
same
realize
thing.
it was the same team.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, they literally list this, such and such, blah, 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 in Kitsune Tails, the follow-up to Super Bernie World.
Yeah, it's the same engine.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I think I actually know these bosses from something else. They made mid-boss.
Yes, they also
didn't realize that.
But yeah, I guess there's a bunch of demos coming out on Steam, and I hear there's a lot of good ones, so I'm going to have to check that out.
I really wish Steam would come up with something that's a competitor for xCloud for the purpose of these demos so that you could just play them without having to install them. Anyway, any final thoughts about anything?
I'm about to be out of town, so if anybody has good recommendations for games I should play on Steam Deck that I'm not already currently playing on Steam Deck, I'm interested. I've got a list. I'm going to try them out.
I was going to mention this before you said anything. Noah Drift is currently very, very on sale.
I mean, I am here saying that I apparently missed everything about Nine Souls, so I'm going to be checking that out next.
They made a Metroidvania specifically for me. There's also Biomorph, but I picked that up a while ago and don't think I had a chance to talk about it on the show.
Rotwood is in early access, which is kind of an interesting game. It's what if Castle Crashers was a roguelite? Sort of.
Huh. All right.
Or more so, what if you had a roguelite that was nothing but the combat sequences from Cult of the Lamb?
I think we just call that Binding of Isaac.
Yeah.
Which actually is not nearly fair enough to Cult of the Lamb. It's way more interesting than that.
And apparently a single-player only version of New World is coming out at some point.
What?
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
wild.
In the slightly more understandable, a single-player only version of Wolcen is going to be all that's left fairly soon.
Yes, because
Yep.
that game is cratering.
Oh.
Well,
I mean, to be fair,
It was
like
fine. That's a fine single-player game.
My comment to Grace when I pasted the note that they said it when they were stopping support of the game is it's kind of hard to do that when you never really started supporting it.
oh,
Accurate.
Sadly, yeah.
But as far as that genre is concerned, looking forward to the last Epoch update next month.
Yep,
Ooh.
Woohoo!
early July.
Nice.
Anyway, hopefully you enjoyed the show, and we will see you again next week. Good night.
Good night.
Night.
good
Good
night.
night.
Good night.
See you.